Hello, alongside Ryan, sir. I'm Don Helbig, and welcome to the Pick Six, the podcast of the Attractions Group, where we bring you the latest top stories from the attractions and amusement industry.
Yeah, and before we delve into this week's Pick Six, let me remind you where to find us. We're on YouTube. We're both very handsome. You should watch on there. Search for the Attractions Group podcast on YouTube to find us there. But also, we're on all your favorite podcast apps, Apple, Google, Spotify, you know the drill. And you can follow us on X/Twitter at attractions_GRP. Don, numero uno.
Well, the amusement industry is dimming with the news that Jack Morey of Morey's Piers has passed. Jack's passion, creativity, and dedication transformed Morey's Piers into a cherished destination for countless families. His innovative vision brought new attractions and experiences that captivated visitors of all ages. If you visited Wildwood, you've been touched by Jack's vision. The Rio Grande Avenue Gateway, the iconic Wildwood sign, the Wildwood Dog Park and Beach, Socratic Outdoor Learning Center, the doo-wop style architecture, and his latest project, the Big Little Nine Golf Course, are just a few examples. Of course, Morey's Piers and resorts also bear Jack's unique vision. So just a real iconic figure in the industry, and we're saddened by this news.
Yeah, and may he rest in peace, and thank you for your contribution to the industry. I'm sure you made a lot of people happy with your work. All right. So, next up. So, Six Flags Entertainment Corporation, the largest and most diverse amusement park operator in North America, announced the elimination of a guest surcharge fee on in-park food, beverage, and retail purchases at participating legacy Six Flags parks. Most legacy Six Flags parks have begun applying this surcharge early this year due to an increased labor and supply cost. The surcharge was automatically added at the beginning of every transaction and appeared as a separate line item on the guest receipt. Following the completion of the merger of Cedar Fair Entertainment Company and the former Six Flags Entertainment on July 1st, the decision was made to repeal these surcharges. 2 legacy Six Flags parks in California had already eliminated the surcharge in anticipation of a change in state law. So here's this is the argument that we're going to get. They're just going to add this onto the price of the items. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too. You knew that they weren't going to keep this because if the legacy parks had that, the legacy Cedar Fair parks did not. Guests are going to start to notice the difference. So they had to have it one way or the other. Mm-hmm. So I think you and I both saw the elimination of this coming. But like you said, it's likely to get tacked on to the cost of an item.
That's fine. And it's a lot of people feared that this would be coming to the Cedar Fair parks. I'm glad that it went the other way around, because I understand that there's signs up for this. I understand that it's disclosed on the menu boards and stuff, but the only reason to do this is to be sneaky. It's to make it appear as though the price is lower than it is, and then you get sticker shock when you buy something, and you're already at the register, so you buy it. So I think that there's certainly an ethical issue involved with this. There's probably a trust issue with, if they're going to tack on this, I mean, what else are they going to tack onto it? So I think they made the absolute right decision. I'm glad they did it so swiftly. And I think that this is the sort of thing that should be celebrated. If they want to raise prices a little bit because labor and, supplies cost more, then that's the nature of the game. I completely understand that. But just to tack it on at the end and act like it doesn't exist until you're swiping your credit card, for me, there are ethical questions involved with that. But good riddance to this. It's dumb.
Yep, good move.
Yep. Next up.
Tower of Terror at Walt Disney World is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. Visitors to Disney's Hollywood Studios can find a new line of Tower of Terror merchandise at the Tower Hotel Gifts, although there is nothing specifically marking the 30th anniversary. So that's a little bit disappointing that you don't get that 30th anniversary kind of shirt. But still, from what I've seen, a really cool line of new merchandise now available. And maybe I'll have you pick something out for me while you're down there, Ryan. I'll give you the money to purchase it for me.
Yeah, I'll do that. It's I've wanted to want something from Tower of Terror for a long time, but it seems like the gift shop at the exit has had the same stuff for over a year now at least, and all of it is fine, but nothing like eye catching. So hopefully this rejuvenates it. The one thing that kind of stinks is that the gift shop also has sections for Haunted Mansion and Nightmare Before Christmas, so it's taking up some of the real estate for Tower of Terror, Hollywood Tower of Terror, and Twilight Zone and so on. But you know what the biggest thing is that bothers me about this? I mentioned this in the other side of this in the attraction script. I'm a big Rod Serling fan, but that's all of Twilight Zone is like CBS owned, or at least at the time it was CBS owned. So whenever they do merchandise, it's always Mickey riding the elevator. Mickey doesn't have anything to do with this ride. If they need to have stuff with Rod Serling on or the Twilight Zone logo or something, I would buy the heck out of that. But obviously, they're paying out of that, so that's why you see Mickey. Heck, in this picture alone, you can see Mickey in a Loungefly. You see him like inside
That's
the
right.
doors. Mickey's not in that. They're rewriting history in front of us. All right. Next up, Bryn Cummings, a 13-year-old ventriloquist and magician and semi-finalist on America's Got Talent, is performing at Holiday World and Splash and Safari. Now through July 28th, guests at the Southern Indiana theme park will have the opportunity to witness Bryn's talent firsthand on the Hoosier Celebration Theater stage. Bryn has been captivating audience with her performances since the age of 8. Her achievements have earned her top spots on TV and in competitions. In 2019, she won first place in the prestigious 82nd annual Abbott's Magic Get Together, a renowned magic convention held in Cullen, Michigan. She was invited to give a TED Talk in 2021 titled How to Dream Like a 10-Year-Old. In 2022, Cummins was featured in CW Penn and Teller's Try This at Home Too. That same year, she claimed the top spot in the junior open mic at the Vent Haven, an annual ventriloquist convention. That is in my hometown, by the way, the Vent Haven Museum of Ventriloquism. We'll get into that in a second. In addition to Bryn's performances, the Holidays in the Sky Trend Show fireworks spectacular runs nightly through August 4th. More acts, including magician Don Baggett and comedy juggler Matt Jurgens, will continue throughout the season. So very interesting. But yeah, Vent Haven is in Fort Wright, Kentucky. So it's like a 5-minute drive from here. The Vent Haven Museum is the largest private collection of ventriloquism dummies. It's a museum, and I think that it's free by appointment only, and they have like recommended donations. But they've always had like a big ventriloquism convention here. They used to have this place called the Drawbridge Inn, which is a huge hotel, which failed and was torn down eventually. But they used to have that big convention there. So it's cool to see that she was a part of that. And I really like how Holiday World is rotating the entertainment to keep it all fresh.
I do too. And, when you look at Holiday World, they've been voted a number of times a top value park. When you have, different type of entertainment like this rotating through, it just adds even that much more value to your visits to Holiday World.
Absolutely. Now, people have mentioned like, the short run of the bubble show at Kings Island, how that might be an opportunity. And I think there might be something to that. Next up.
I think so too. All right, a longtime ride at Waldameer Park will soon be retired. After more than 4 decades of bringing joy to riders, the Spider will be retired at the end of the 2024 season. This beloved attraction will be replaced by a new ride called the Time Twister. It's a family thrill ride. In addition to the new ride, Waldameer is planning several improvements for 2025. These include a new potato patch, sun deck cafe, and a swim shop retail building. The park is also looking to expand the entrance to Waterworld. I was recently at Waldameer, had a chance to. I did not know the ride was going to be retired, so I'm glad I rode the Spider. But it's really just such a charming park. If you're in that area, in the Pennsylvania area, you gotta check out Waldameer.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny how different these are. So I was looking at the Spider. I was for obviously the segment of the show, but with the support structure, it looks like somebody built this in their backyard, and that's just how rides were back in the day. And now you look to the right for that, that nebula that's there. It looks like it's built like a tank, like it could survive a Category 5 hurricane.
Well, it's going to be a good fit there, and it's it's a nice addition for the park, adding a thrill attraction. I hate to see the Spider go. So many memories there for a lot of guests that have gone to Waldermere. But it's really cool what they're doing there. I'm looking forward to experiencing that. I'm definitely going to make a trip back there next year.
Have you ridden one of these Zamperla Nebulas?
I have not. Have you?
Yes, I rode it at IAPA, and I thought it would be one of those rides that looks cool but rides boring. I was absolutely wrong. It is so fun, and it gives you weightless sensations. So they're really going to have a winner on their hands, both visually and from a ride experience standpoint.
Yeah, I remember seeing it at IAPA, but I did not ride it.
Yeah, they always have it available. I mean, the last couple times I've been there, they've had them. All right.
Yeah, a great addition to the park.
Next up. So, the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Gardens have announced a new fall tradition debuting this October. The event, called Jack-O-Lantern Glow, will feature 5,000 hand-carved illuminated pumpkins and displays, making it the largest illuminated pumpkin show in the tri-state area. Jack-O-Lantern Glow will take place on October 3rd to the 6th, 11th through the 13th, and 18th to the 31st. Tickets are available online, and all visitors must reserve a date and time-specific ticket in advance. Prices are set at $25 for the age 13 and older, and $20 for children between the ages of 3 and 12. Members will receive a $3 discount on each ticket, and children under the age of 3 can attend free. So look who's getting into the Halloween game, Cincinnati Zoo.
Yeah, it's one of the finest zoos in the country, by the way. But yeah, I mean, this looks like a really fun event for families. I'm going to check it out. What about you?
I plan to go. The zoo does Festival of Lights, and it's one of the most popular Christmas events in the Cincinnati area. So, I mean, they know what they're up against. So this could be really cool. So I'm guessing. I haven't seen.
Yeah, as well as they do that holiday event, with their Festival of Lights, as well as they do that, I mean, they're going to do this well.
Well, we know that much like the Disney stuff, if you can do Christmas, you can do Halloween. It's the same thing except scary. All right. Cool. Let's move on to the listener questions. First one, Bobby T, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Legacy Six Flags parks, like Six Flags Over Georgia and Six Flags America, have invoked a chaperone policy similar to what some of the legacy Cedar Fair parks have done, like Carowinds and Kings Island. From what you can tell, has it made a difference in unruly behavior?
I think so. I think it's helped.
I think it has too. But I think that the main goal, and I don't think that they're hiding their cards too much in this, is if you're 13 years old you're with your friends and you're behaving, you're probably okay. Technically, you shouldn't be in the park without a chaperone, but they're not going to accost you. But if you start getting annoying and destructive, then they start asking, "Where's your chaperone?" And that's an easy out to kick you out of the park if you don't have one. So you don't need to comment on that because you were with Kings Island when they invoked it originally, right? Or was that after you left?
I was,
Yeah.
and I felt, just even this year going to the park as a guest, it makes a difference when you're there in the late evening hours, especially on the weekend, the Saturday nights, Friday nights. I think it's helped.
Yeah, I think so too. I noticed it starting pretty early, and I do. One of the problems that you do run into is you walk into the park at 5-6 o'clock and you've got some kid walking up to you like, "Hey, can you be my chaperone?" I would highly encourage against that.
I've not seen that.
I've had it happen to me. I think everybody I know has had it. You're not very approachable, Don. That's the problem.
Probably.
But yeah, I've seen it happen a lot. Fortunately, I've never heard of somebody saying like, "Oh, okay, let's do this." But I'm sure it does happen. But yeah. Next listener question. Alex G from Lancaster, Ohio. Are we ready to call Top Thrill 2 a bust?
I'm not.
I mean, for 2024, it's a bust. If it opened today, it would have missed half the season. I'm not saying in the long run it's a bust. I think it's going to be a win in the long run.
I think there's a lot of doubt there, whether it's going to open at this point. There's doubt has crept in, especially within the enthusiast community if it's going to reopen. At least during the summer, possibly in the fall it might. But no, I mean, it's unfortunate what's happened there. But I think both sides, Cedar Point, Zamperla, there's a lot invested there. I think they're going to do everything that they can to get a solve for whatever the issue may be.
Yes.
So for me, I'm not ready to call it a bust.
I think I stand by what I said. I think that it's we're now halfway through July and it was open for 6 days. So I think that was it a success for 2024? You would have to do a lot to prove to me that it was. But with that being
Yeah,
said,
for 2024, yeah, no, I mean it definitely was not a success for this year. But I mean, you and I both talked about this. I remember back in like January, February, that when they had the opening date, end of April, they were going to do those preview nights and all that. That we thought they should wait until Memorial Day
yeah,
and keep on testing it and testing it and testing it to make sure that it was going to be ready to go because of what it was replacing, the issues they had with that they couldn't have this happen again. And it went down really quickly. So they've had it happen again. So when it does reopen, they cannot have a situation where it's open for a week or two and then it goes down again for an extended period. It has to work the next time.
I think that's their goal, and I think that's why it's still closed. Because
That's why it would take as long as it takes to get it right.
you know what's
As a fan of the park, I'm comfortable with that. As long as it takes to get it right. This ride has so much, we heard so many rave reviews about it, the few that got a chance to ride it, that just take however long it takes to find the solve and get it right before you even try to reopen it.
Yeah. So what I think is kind of interesting, I wouldn't say scary because I don't want to put that onto people's heads, is that we're now halfway through the season. So technically they could fix the train, whatever's wrong with the trains, like good enough to make it through the season and reopen it now. But whatever problem they're having, they don't feel comfortable doing that. They have to fix it once and for all and not push it off until the off season. So I'm sure that all the facts with the ride will eventually come to light, as things have a tendency to do. But it'll be very interesting to find out the actual timeline of events of what went wrong and what they did to repair it and what happened. Because I assume that their one repair that they did at this point was not enough because it's been so long, and they kind of acted like they didn't say it wouldn't be this long, but that's the vibe that everybody got. But all right. Wendy B from St. Louis, Missouri. Have you ridden Screamin' Eagle at Six Flags St. Louis? If so, what are your thoughts? It's my favorite coaster at my home park. I have not. Don, I'm sure you have.
I have. I really enjoyed it when I rode it, and it's been a minute since I've been there. It's been about 18 years, I think, was my last visit to Six Flags St. Louis. My daughter was about 10 or 11 at the time, and she loved it too. When it first opened, I want to say like 1976, I'm thinking off the top of my head, it held records at the time. It's the tallest and the fastest and that. John Allen, who designed the racer at Kings Island, was a designer of it, so it had a lot of those elements. Great airtime, just a lot of fun. I don't know. Hopefully, they've been able to maintain it and do all the track work necessary to keep it a smooth ride experience. I don't know how that is since then, but when I did ride it, I really enjoyed it.
That's cool. Yeah, Six Flags St. Louis is a park that has not come to it's not come to mind a lot recently, but I've had a lot of people wanting to go recently, so I might make my way out there.
I've got my maybe. Six Flags Legacy Diamond Pass, so I'll try to see if I can fit that in before we get too deep into the fall.
That's perfect. You have to let us know how it goes. So Wendy, so this is your home park. Tell me, is it worth the drive from Cincinnati, about 6 hours out there, assuming that the Blues aren't playing and I can't go to, a Blues game while I'm out there? So, yeah. All right. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back next week with some more wonderful news and attractions and interviews and all sorts of fun stuff. Make sure you follow us on all your favorite podcast apps, Apple, Google, Spotify. You know the drill. Follow us on X at attractions_GRP. And subscribe on YouTube by searching for the Attractions Group Podcast. See you next week, everybody.